Hey there, folks. Have you ever stopped to think about the whole idea of a soul? You know, that little spark of life that so many people believe makes them? But what if I told you that Gautama Buddha had a radically different perspective? Can rebirth really exist without a soul? Stick around, because we're diving deep into these fascinating ideas. Many of us grow up with a very particular understanding of what it means to exist. There's the physical body, which eventually dies, and then there's this soul, often imagined as this separate, eternal essence that outlasts the body. It's a comforting thought, isn't it? But what happens when ancient wisdom completely turns that notion upside down? That's exactly what Buddha did over 2,500 years ago. His teachings invite us to rethink life, death, and the very notion of self. So buckle up, because what you're about to learn might challenge everything you think you know about life and death. Welcome to Monk Mind. Here, we explore the timeless wisdom of ancient philosophies and spiritual traditions, bringing their profound insights into modern life. Through the lens of teachings from Buddhism, Hinduism, Stoicism, and more, we dive deep into topics like mindfulness, meditation, personal growth, and the mysteries of existence. Whether it's understanding karma, discovering inner peace, or finding new perspectives on life and death, our channel is dedicated to making these ancient teachings accessible and relevant to you today. Join us on this transformative journey towards deeper awareness and spiritual growth. Now here's where it gets tricky. A lot of people think Buddhism is all about the soul. They hear the word rebirth and immediately picture a soul hopping from one body to another like a game of musical chairs. But that's not really how it works in Buddhist thought. The concept of Anatta tells us that there is no permanent, unchanging self or soul. This can be super confusing. How can there be rebirth if there's no soul to carry on? Many folks get caught up in this contradiction, and it leads to some serious misunderstandings. So, let's clear the fog around these ideas. To truly grasp Buddha's teaching of Anatta, or no soul, it's helpful to contrast it with other religious philosophies. For instance, in many Western religious traditions like Christianity or Hinduism, the soul is considered an eternal entity. It's believed that this soul either reincarnates or is judged after death. But Buddhism steps in with a radical departure. Not only is there no eternal soul, but even the self we identify with is constantly changing. Think about it. We're made of thoughts, feelings, and perceptions, which are all in flux. You are not the same person today that you were a year ago, or even 5 minutes ago. A great metaphor often used by Buddhist teachers is that of a river. A river flows, it moves, but it's never quite the same river at any given point. Our sense of self is like that river, constantly flowing, never fixed. This is what Buddha was getting at when he talked about Anatta. Our identity is merely a collection of transient experiences. So, if there's no fixed self, how does rebirth fit into this picture? Alright, let's dive into the teachings of Buddha. When we talk about Anatta, we're really looking at the idea that our sense of self is just a collection of experiences, thoughts, and feelings. It's like a river, always flowing, always changing. Now, in terms of rebirth, Buddhism teaches that what continues on isn't a soul, but rather a stream of consciousness. Picture it like a flame being passed from one candle to another. Each life is interconnected, and our actions, or karma, shape the next existence. This cycle is known as samsara. It's a continuous process of birth, death, and rebirth that's influenced by our thoughts and deeds. So, instead of thinking of a soul jumping from one life to another, think of it as a continuity of experiences that shape our journey. Let's get more specific. The concept of karma in Buddhism isn't just about good deeds leading to rewards or bad deeds leading to punishment. It's subtler than that. Karma is more like the momentum of your actions, which influences the flow of this stream of consciousness. Just as a ball rolling down a hill picks up speed or changes direction, depending on the incline, our actions shape the trajectory of our consciousness. This is why ethical conduct and mindfulness are so central to Buddhist practice. They shape the quality of the consciousness that flows into future existences. But here's the clincher. This stream of consciousness doesn't mean there's a fixed self moving from life to life. It's more like a chain reaction, a series of causes and effects that are linked, yet constantly shifting. Picture a line of dominoes. When one domino falls, it triggers the next, but no single domino is carried along. In the same way, Your consciousness today influences the future, but you as an individual don't persist unchanged. This is how rebirth occurs without a soul. Understanding the concept of no soul can lead to a profound liberation from suffering. When we let go of the attachment to a permanent self, we begin to see the interconnectedness of all life. This realization is key because it helps us break free from the cycle of craving and aversion that causes so much pain. Imagine feeling lighter, freer, and more connected to everything around you. That's the insight Buddha offers us. It's a moment of clarity that shifts our perspective and can truly transform our lives. In fact, Buddhist teachers often describe the moment of realizing Anatta as a kind of awakening. When we release the illusion of a permanent self, the burdens of fear, greed, and anger begin to lift. Think about it. Much of our suffering arises from clinging to things that are temporary. We fear death because we see it as the end of a permanent self. We crave certain experiences because we believe they'll solidify our happiness. But when we recognize that everything, including ourselves, is in constant flux, these attachments begin to loosen. This is where true freedom lies. And this is the path to nirvana, the ultimate release from the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. So, to wrap things up, we've explored how Buddha's teachings on rebirth and no soul can change the way we view ourselves and the world. Recognizing that there's no permanent self can open the door to personal growth and deeper understanding. It's a profound realization that can help us navigate life with more compassion and less suffering. Now, I want to hear from you. What do you think about the idea of rebirth without a soul? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you're hungry for more insights, make sure to check out my other video that dives even deeper into Buddhist philosophy. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.